Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving into something absolutely fascinating today. A truly profound and thought-provoking set of reflections originally published for International Women's Day 2022. It's called Dealing Better, and it was written by the incredibly insightful author and policy influencer Oluyomi Oladavid. She has crafted this beautiful, almost poetic framework that challenges us to look at the systems all around us. We're tackling business, governance, even our own personal mindsets. She basically asks us one simple, crucial question. How can we upgrade from stale, broken norms to a much better deal? Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for the 5 spheres of influence we'll be exploring. First, we'll meet Oluyomi Oladavid herself. Then, we'll look at rejuvenating stale business, moving on to governance, justice, and truth. After that, we'll cover culture and community, and finally, shifting our own perspectives. Section 1. Meet Oluyomi Oladavid, the visionary behind the words. Getting a sense of who she is really helps anchor the powerful insight she's sharing, and this brilliantly illustrates her core professional identity. Oluyomi Oladavid is a thinker deeply focused on global development. Her entire ethos is built around generating actionable solutions and providing clarity in a totally complex world. She doesn't just sit around pointing out broken systems. She is actively dedicated to influencing policy and strategy to actually fix them. To truly understand her framework, we really need to read her exact words from her bio. She writes, "I am a Nigerian and I love people. I am concerned about global development and transformation. I enjoy generating solutions, influencing policy/strategy, and providing clarity. My Father God owns and rules the universe. He is the wheel within my wheels." You know, this grounds us perfectly. Her analytical drive to fix policies is fundamentally intertwined with a deep personal faith and just an absolute love for humanity. Section 2. Rejuvenating stale business, finding a better deal in the economy. Keeping her worldview in mind, she starts by looking at how businesses interact with each other. She points to crowding out, pushing out competitors or monopolizing resources as a fundamentally negative force. It spells stale business, it's totally stagnant. But as the ultimate solution, she argues that a spread effect is just a much better deal for everyone involved. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how organizational leaders can actually apply it. She's practically urging leaders to drop the zero-sum thinking. Instead of hoarding opportunities, the spread effect is all about expansive, inclusive growth. It means building models where your success naturally creates a ripple effect of opportunities and resources for the people and businesses around you. She takes this economic analysis a step further and goes right after complacency. She argues that accepting things as usual is exactly what spells a stale economy. The status quo is literally the enemy of progress. On the flip side, embracing change is the better deal. Change is the engine that drives an economy forward, right? It forces us to adapt and innovate. Notice the clear patterns in her economic mindset here. A restless, crowding, business-as-usual environment just creates a completely stale system. But look at our solutions. Rejuvenate, spread effect, change. They breathe new life into our work. She clearly views rejuvenation, bringing inclusive practices into the mix, as the absolute cure for a restless, stagnant system. On to Section 3. Governance, Justice, and Truth. Building Fairer Systems. Her reflections naturally expand outward from the business realm, right into governance and truth. She deeply believes that true justice isn't just a local issue. It has to be a global, balanced endeavor. The world simply cannot thrive if the scales are constantly tipped by those avoiding consequences. Here is exactly how she phrases it. Impunity spells stale politics. Justice is a better deal. Think about it. When politicians or powerful figures act with total impunity, zero fear of punishment or accountability, the whole political system just rots. It gets completely stale. The vital, rejuvenating alternative she demands is justice. Justice is what brings the system back to life. She draws a direct line between this staleness in governance and who is actually allowed in the room. Exclusion, she notes, spells stale governance. When leaders shut out diverse voices, the entire system stagnates. So she demands inclusion as a much better approach. A governing body that actually includes all its people, that's dynamic, it's responsive, and ultimately, it's way more effective. And then she hits on the absolute core mechanism of how societies operate. Oppression spells a stale process. It is heavy, it's stifling, and it just crushes human potential. But the alternative she offers is incredibly powerful. Liberal truth is a better deal. Let's unpack her specific poetic phrasing here for a second. Liberal truth. She isn't using this in some modern partisan sense. She's talking about truth as a genuinely liberating force. It represents total freedom, absolute transparency, and unapologetic honesty in governance. It is the ultimate antidote to the dark, hidden processes of oppression. Truth literally sets the system free. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into culture and community, elevating our shared experience. Having tackled the economy and the government, she turns that analytical eye toward how we live together. And this leads to one of her most fascinating insights. She writes, "Poverty spells stale wealth. Community is a better deal." Notice she doesn't just say poverty is bad. She says it makes wealth stale. If you have wealth but your neighbors are in poverty, your wealth loses its true value. She fundamentally redefines value here by suggesting that a thriving community is the true counter to poverty. She then takes a clear, totally uncompromising stance on the social fabric of our lives. Racism spells stale culture. It shrinks our world. It makes our culture monotonous and fearful. Her better deal? United diversity. It's not just about tolerating differences, right? It's about actively uniting around them to bring a culture brilliantly to life. I absolutely love how she brings her analytical background into her spiritual views here. She's literally borrowing terms from Wall Street. A bearish faith, one that is pessimistic, retreating, or always expecting failure, is stale. But a bullish faith, one that's optimistic, confident, and driving upward, that is a way better deal. It perfectly reflects her deeply spiritual yet highly practical mindset. Finally, Section 5, Shifting Our Perspectives, the Final Choice. We've looked at business, governance, and culture. Now it comes down to personal choice. She focuses entirely on the internal mindset shifts that she requires of us as individuals. First, she challenges how we speak. Abuse spells stale mouthpiece. Using your voice to tear down or abuse others is just a tired, stagnant way to communicate. Instead, she prefers frank as a better deal. Frank, honest, direct communication cuts through the noise without ever resorting to the staleness of toxicity. So the crucial point is her subtle shift in language here. She actually moves from using the word stale to bad. Compete spells bad perspective. In her eyes, viewing everyone around you merely as competition is a fundamental flaw in judgment. Compliment is a better deal. She emphasizes the incredible power of finding out how your strengths can actually complement someone else's weaknesses, rather than just trying to beat them. And she leaves us with this final worldview pairing. Intrusion spells bad judgment. Forcing yourself into spaces, dominating without permission, that is negative and disruptive. But invitation is the better deal. It's all about creating a welcoming environment, pulling people in willingly, and leading with hospitality over force. Which brings us to the ultimate question derived from Oluyomi Ola-David's incredible framework. Look at your own life, your business, your leadership. Are you operating with the stale mechanisms of crowding out, exclusion, and intrusion? Or are you actively creating a better deal by inviting others in, finding ways to complement them, and operating with a true spread effect? Take these reflections with you today and ask yourself how you can deal better. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep seeking that better deal.